Hello and welcome to Lean Reds, the channel that turns powerful books into simple lessons for growth and inspiration. Have you ever wondered why you crave sugar even when you're not hungry? Or why your mind feels foggy after certain meals? It turns out, the answers lie not in your brain, but in your gut. In this video, we'll explore the gut-brain paradox, a fascinating journey into how your microbiome shapes your mental health and behavior. If you'd like to read the full book, the link is waiting for you in the description. Now let's jump into it. Published in 2025, The Gut-Brain Paradox dives deep into the intricate relationship between the gut microbiome and the brain. Author Stephen R. Gundry reveals how the trillions of tiny organisms living within us are not just supporting digestion, but are also the silent directors behind our moods, clarity of thought, behavior, and even the aging process. The book argues that many modern mental health issues, from brain fog, anxiety, and depression to severe neurodegenerative diseases, stem from imbalances in the gut ecosystem. More than just a nutrition guide, this work represents a revolution in how we view mental health, offering a clear roadmap for healing the brain by starting with the gut. Dr. Stephen R. Gundry is a leading figure in American medicine. Once a renowned cardiothoracic surgeon, he shifted his career focus to exploring human health through nutrition and the gut microbiome. He is currently the director of the International Heart and Lung Institute. Dr. Gundry is recognized worldwide for his pioneering research on the links between diet, gut health, and chronic disease. He has authored several global bestsellers, including The Plant Paradox, The Longevity Paradox, and Unlocking the Keto Code. His books have transformed the lives of millions by challenging conventional wisdom and offering science-backed, practical solutions. The gut-brain connection. For decades, science and medicine taught us that a healthy mind is determined by brain chemistry, gut habits, or genetic inheritance. We believe that emotions, memory, and clarity of thought all resided in one organ, the brain. But what if the story is more complex? What if there is another powerful force, what Gundry calls our second brain, silently shaping our deepest thoughts and feelings? Modern science has uncovered an astonishing truth. Inside each of us exists a vast ecosystem of trillions of microorganisms, primarily residing in the gut. This gut microbiome is not a passive passenger, it is an active partner, a biochemical engineer constantly communicating with the brain through an intricate information network. Imagine a direct hotline from the gut to the brain. That's the vagus nerve. Remarkably, around 90% of the signals travel upward, from gut to brain, not the other way around, which means your gut is talking to your brain far more than your brain is talking to your gut. And who's writing those messages? Your microbial community. How microbes shape the mind. Through the process of digesting food, gut bacteria produce chemical compounds known as postbiotics. These compounds closely resemble neurotransmitters such as serotonin, the happiness hormone dopamine, the motivation hormone GABA, the calming neurotransmitter. These postbiotics enter the bloodstream, cross the blood-brain barrier, and directly influence how we feel, think, and act. When your microbiome is healthy and diverse, it orchestrates a harmonious chemical symphony, helping you stay focused, calm, and joyful. But when balance is disrupted by high sugar, ultra-processed diets, chronic stress, overuse of antibiotics, or environmental toxins, the music goes out of tune. Harmful bacteria flourish, beneficial ones decline, and the messages sent to your brain become distorted. The result: chronic inflammation, heightened anxiety, fatigue, and impaired mental clarity. The core paradox here lies. The paradox: mental health does not originate solely in the brain. It begins deeper, in the gut ecosystem we cultivate every day. Recognizing this truth is the first step toward reclaiming control over our emotional and cognitive well-being. The gut-brain paradox makes a powerful case that if we want a resilient mind, we must first nurture a resilient gut. Who's really hungry? The hidden battle behind cravings. Have you ever wondered why you suddenly crave a sugary pastry with overwhelming intensity even when you know it's bad for you? Or why you feel ravenously hungry just an hour after finishing a big meal? Most of us assume the problem is weak willpower, or that our body genuinely needs more energy. But the truth is far more complex and astonishing. The one demanding food might not be you at all, but the vast army of microbes living in your gut microbiome, and a uniform community. It's more like a dense rainforest, filled with diverse species locked in constant competition. Each type of microbe has its own favorite meal. Some thrive on dietary fiber from vegetables, while others are addicted to sugar and fats from processed foods. Every time you eat, you're not just feeding yourself, you're feeding specific groups of bacteria. And this is where the hidden war begins, when a particular group, say, sugar-loving bacteria, gains the upper hand. They won't sit back quietly. They use a sophisticated biochemical arsenal to manipulate their host, that is, you, to ensure their food supply keeps flowing. How do they do it? Hijacking hunger signals. Harmful microbes can release molecules that mimic hunger hormones, tricking your brain into thinking you need energy, even when your body is well-fed, disrupting satiety hormones. Normally, after a meal, hormones like leptin signal the brain to stop eating, but harmful bacteria can blunt these signals, leaving you unsatisfied and pushing you to eat more, rewiring your reward system. When you consume their preferred foods like sugar, these microbes stimulate the release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter that makes you feel pleasure. Your brain records the reward and creates a loop. Each sugar gives feel good, gives crave more sugar. This cycle mirrors the very same addiction pathways triggered by drugs. The result is a vicious cycle. The more processed food and sugar you eat, the more you feed the harmful microbial dictators. As their population grows, they amplify cravings, making resistance nearly impossible. This isn't about willpower, it's a biochemical battle raging within you. In fact, studies have shown that transplanting gut microbes from obese mice into lean mice cause the lean mice to eat more and gain weight, even though their diet and activity levels remain the same. Understanding this changes everything. It explains why sheer willpower diets often fail. You can't fight a chemical war with thoughts alone. The key to breaking free isn't to battle cravings head-on, but to reshape the composition of your gut army by nourishing beneficial bacteria with fiber-rich foods. You gradually regain control, transforming your gut from a relentless enemy into a powerful ally. Leaking from within. The silent enemy of the brain. Imagine the lining of your gut as a fortress wall, built from tightly joined cells. Its mission is vital: to allow fully digested nutrients to pass into the bloodstream to nourish the body, while blocking intruders like harmful bacteria, toxins, and undigested food particles. This barrier is one of the most important security systems you have, but under constant assault from the modern diet, chronic stress, and environmental toxins, this wall can weaken. The tight junctions between intestinal cells loosen, creating tiny gaps. This condition is known as leaky gut syndrome, and once the wall begins to leak, chaos follows. One of the most dangerous invaders that can slip through a compromised gut barrier is lipopolysaccharide LPS. LPS is an endotoxin found in the outer membrane of certain harmful bacteria. Normally, when these bacteria die in the gut, LPS is contained and safely excreted. But in a leaky gut, LPS can flow straight into the bloodstream where it triggers serious trouble. Even in trace amounts, LPS is immediately recognized by the immune system as a deadly threat, sparking a full-scale inflammatory response. Unlike the redness and swelling you see with a cut, this inflammation is low-grade, chronic, and systemic. It simmers silently throughout the body, and one of its main targets is the brain. LPS has the alarming ability to cross the blood-brain barrier, another of the body's protective fortifications. Once inside, it activates specialized immune cells called microglia. Under normal conditions, Microglia act as caretakers, cleaning up dead cells and keeping the brain's environment healthy. But when constantly provoked by LPS, they switch into overdrive. Instead of caretakers, they become soldiers releasing wave after wave of inflammatory chemicals cytokines. In this battlefield, healthy neurons are caught in the crossfire. Chronic neuroinflammation acts like a slow-burning fire, gradually destroying neural connections, disrupting cellular energy production, and impairing cognitive function. You may feel this as brain fog, poor focus, fading memory, unexplained fatigue, and unpredictable mood swings, as if your mind is stuck under heavy, invisible fog. The most insidious part: this process unfolds silently for years, even decades. Every sugary cookie, every sleepless stressful night, every unnecessary course of antibiotics chips away at your gut barrier, opening the door for LPS and other toxins to slip and slowly burning your brain from the inside out. This is one reason why neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's are rising at alarming rates. Protecting the brain, therefore, isn't just about what happens inside the skull. The fight for mental clarity and longevity begins much earlier by repairing the leaks in the fortress wall of your gut. Addiction, the survival game of microbes. Addiction, whether to alcohol, nicotine, drugs, or even sugar, is often framed as a moral failing or a weakness of willpower. Yet the gut-brain paradox invites us to see it differently through a biological lens. From this perspective, addictive behavior is, at least in part, a survival strategy of the gut microbiome itself. Recall the idea that different microbes thrive on different foods. When someone regularly consumes an addictive substance like alcohol, they're not only altering brain chemistry, they're reshaping the entire ecosystem of their gut. For certain microbial species, alcohol is a perfect fuel source. Frequent drinking creates an environment where these alcohol-loving microbes can multiply rapidly, crowding out beneficial species. Once these microbes gain dominance, they fight to keep their food supply flowing. They launch a subtle yet powerful manipulation campaign to ensure their host continues to deliver alcohol. The process mirrors sugar cravings, but on a far more potent and dangerous scale. They can heighten stress and anxiety when alcohol is absent, sending chemical signals that trigger feelings of discomfort. This reaction is part of what we recognize as withdrawal syndrome. To escape the misery, the brain pushes you toward another drink, thus the addictive cycle strengthens. Worse still, a microbiome warped by alcohol can rewire the brain's reward system. It may dull dopamine receptors, forcing you to consume ever larger amounts to achieve the same high. This is the biological underpinning of tolerance, the need for escalating doses to feel the same effect. Evidence for the microbial role in addiction is mounting. In animal studies, altering the gut microbiome changes the drive to seek addictive substances. When researchers transplanted microbes from alcohol-dependent humans into germ-free mice, those mice began to show a marked preference for alcohol. The microbes themselves had planted the seed of addictive behavior. In humans, researchers have also found strong links between dysbiosis or severe imbalance in gut microbes and higher levels of anxiety, impulsivity, and loss of control, all hallmark traits of addiction. Understanding this does not erase the psychological and social dimensions of addiction, but it does expand the toolkit for recovery. Instead of relying solely on willpower or therapy, we can intervene at the root, healing the gut by restoring microbial balance, reducing inflammation, and silencing the biochemical cravings fueled by harmful bacteria. We can ease withdrawal symptoms and make recovery more sustainable. The battle against addiction, then, is not just a test of human will. It is also a battle to reclaim control over the hidden ecosystem inside us. When the gut weeps, the brain suffers. The link to depression and aging in today's world. Diagnoses of anxiety and depression have become alarmingly common. We often search for solutions in therapy sessions or pills designed to tweak brain chemistry. But what if we've been missing a huge piece of the puzzle? What if the tears of the soul actually begin with a gut that is weeping? Science is increasingly pointing to a striking truth. There is a consistent, measurable difference in the gut microbiome of people with depression compared to those who are mentally healthy. Specifically, individuals struggling with depression show a dramatic loss of microbial diversity. The rainforest of the gut becomes barren, overrun with inflammatory microbes, while beneficial species wither away. One of the most critical casualties is the group of microbes that produce short-chain fatty acids. SCFA letters such as butyrate. Butyrate fuels the cells that maintain the intestinal wall and acts as a powerful anti-inflammatory agent across the body, including the brain. When butyrate levels fall, the intestinal wall weakens, leading to leaky gut, while the brain itself becomes increasingly inflamed. This sets the stage for depression to take root. The gut also functions as a neurotransmitter factory. Astonishingly, around 95% of the body's serotonin, the so-called happiness hormone, is produced in the gut, not the brain. When the microbiome is out of balance, the production and regulation of serotonin, dopamine, and GABA are disrupted. This explains why many people find antidepressants, which act on serotonin in the brain, either ineffective or only temporarily helpful. They address the symptoms at the surface while ignoring the deeper problem, the gut. The connection doesn't stop with mood disorders, it extends to the aging of the brain itself, memory loss, cognitive decline, and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's have long been seen as inevitable consequences of aging. But the gut-brain paradox argues that the aging of the brain begins in the gut, often years before the first symptom appears. As we grow older, the diversity of our microbiome naturally declines. Without the support of a nourishing diet, this decline accelerates. The gut barrier weakens, chronic neuroinflammation builds, and the brain's microbiate's resident immune cells burn out after years of fighting toxins leaking from the gut. Eventually, they turn against healthy neurons, destroying the very connections they were meant to protect. Even more unsettling, researchers have discovered that certain gut bacteria produce bacterial amyloid proteins, structurally similar to the amyloid beta plaques found in the brains of Alzheimer's patients. These microbial amyloids may either travel from the gut to the brain or trigger a misguided immune response that attacks the brain's own proteins, speeding up neurodegeneration. The hopeful news is that this process is not irreversible. By adopting a gut-supportive lifestyle built on fiber-rich foods, diverse vegetables and fruits, fermented products, healthy fats, and polyphenol-rich foods like coffee, dark chocolate, olive oil, and berries, we can restore microbial diversity and resilience. A healthy gut calms inflammation, seals the intestinal wall, and supplies the brain with the nutrients it needs to repair and preserve its sharpness over time. Protecting the future of your mind begins with protecting the health of your gut today. The journey through the gut-brain paradox leads us to a revolutionary realization. The mind and body are not two separate entities, and mental health is not determined solely by what happens inside the skull. Within us lies a vast and powerful microscopic world, our gut ecosystem capable of profoundly shaping how we think, feel, and act. We've seen how this microbial army can manipulate cravings, making us slaves to sugar and processed foods. We've uncovered the silent mechanism of leaky gut and chronic neuroinflammation, the hidden enemies that quietly erode clarity and fuel neurodegenerative disease. We've explored the surprising role of the microbiome in reinforcing addictive cycles and providing the biological foundation for mood disorders like anxiety and depression. The core message of this book is both a warning and a beacon of hope. The warning: modern lifestyles are devastating our internal ecosystem, triggering a cascade of physical and mental health problems. The hope: we have the power to change this. We are not helpless before genetics or the passage of time. Through daily choices, from the foods we eat to the way we manage stress, we can act as mindful guard, nurse, cultivating a thriving, diverse microbiome. Healing the brain does not require complex technologies or futuristic medicine. It begins with simple, practical steps: listening to your body, respecting the gut-brain connection, and feeding your microbial allies the nourishment they need to flourish. If you want to think better, feel better, and age more gracefully, start with the gut. That is the key to resolving the paradox and unlocking a brighter future for both mind and body. So there we have it, the distilled insights of this powerful book. I hope it has been useful to you. If you'd like to explore more, the book link is in the description, a great way to support the author and dive deeper yourself. Don't forget to like, share, and hit the notification bell so you never miss new content. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.